forgot time zone conversion.
Yeah, time zone conversion. Here we go. We're going live now.
Okay.
We live?
Yep.
Good. Right. Everyone, welcome to the show, everyone. This is your weekly XPLosion, where we bring MMO news, reviews, and discussions to you. I am your host, The Mosh. I am tonight joined by Nebraska Dave. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Hello.
I am also, once again, as of the last 2 weeks, once again joined tonight by Adam Venom.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Right, welcome to the show, everyone in the room. I don't know how many's in the room right now.
Got a couple. We're good to go.
Yeah, we
got about 5 right now, as we're a little late.
Alright, this week I'm hoping for very little technical issues, but hey, you never know, my laptop seems to let me down the best times, but we'll see. So anyway, yeah, so tonight, you know, we're gonna go a good show tonight because there's been some news that's come out. One of them is the first one up, funny enough, and that's the part of the show we're going to do first, is the news. Before that is all 3 of us are members of Blacklisted. And if you want to know about Blacklisted, Dave, do you want to give the website? Last time I got it wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to give them the actual more front end website tonight. It's going to be it's blacklistedgaming.org. blacklistedgaming.org. That's where you should go first. We've been giving out the forum address where the forums are, but I think to get a better understanding of what the guild is about, go to blacklistedgaming.org.
Yeah, and also there's the recent addition to the Blacklisted website is there's an Lagspike TV portal page on there now where you can actually go onto the website, and in there you'll have basically you can actually see the actual shows go live from there as well. So if you happen to be browsing the forums on Blacklisted, all you have to do is click this one bar at the top, and it will take you straight to the show pages where I think at this moment in time there's arcade in the arcades area on there. But
right.
Yeah, there's going to be updated every new show. After the show, we're going to have those updated as soon as the show goes off the air. They're going to be downloaded and they're going to be put onto the archive system, so for your all's enjoyment for later on. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you don't mind, I'd like to thank, since they're going to go through the archives, I'd like to say a big hello to Politico. because they're going to be coming by, find out, who's this David West fella, and what is he doing about gaming? So, so, you know, for the archive purposes, hi Politico, how you doing?
Well, for my side of it, I could say, you know, from political side, but, you know, I'm a Brit. Most Brits do have a very big voice on politics, but quite aggressive as well about it, but I won't talk for every single Brit around you, but we have our views, but not very well like, but anyway, to get away from that. Yeah.
This is not about politics.
Not about politics. It's not MMOs, but anyway, you know, this is year 2011, and in year 2011, even people of the age of 80 play games. So, yeah. So, moving on, guys, we move on to the news. Before I actually do the first thing I was going to do, I can actually change it around a little bit. Star Trek Online. A blog was released. I don't know if you've seen it, Dave, on the website, giving some ideas on how the free-to-play system will work.
I have seen some of it, yeah.
And apparently some kind of Borg, there's something going on with the Borg in there as well. Is there like new missions or something going on?
yeah, they're tying the free to play. They've got they've been busy doing storylines that they've added since the game came out. They did this big, nice, long one about the Borg, and this is another arc that is a follow up on it. Is what they're focusing on with that. That's supposed to release at the same time the free to play comes out, which is, by the way, no, wait a minute, that's another game. Did they announce the date of the Star Trek Online free to play? I have not seen it yet. I did see another game that's going free to play as of tomorrow, and we need to mention that, and it's not on the list. So, but
throw it out there when we get to it.
But I didn't see when they were going to go free to play with Star Trek Online yet.
Yeah, the only thing I saw was a blog. Anybody can see this if they go to Star Trek Online. The news section. There's a blog in there giving some outlines of some ideas of what could come from the free to play model that's coming in. I think they gave an interview to, I can't remember one of the Gozer, yeah.
I've met Gozer. I shouldn't bring that up, but I've met Gozer before. Gozer's a really, really nice guy, and he's a pretty smart cookie. So I'm looking forward to see what they come up with.
Yeah, considering that, for me personally, Star Trek Online, I played it from the launch, and I did a little bit of beta. I was quite very much disappointed by the time, because the one thing I envisioned from, the one thing I was looking forward to was actually going down to Earth. Going down to Starfleet headquarters on Earth. Getting missions from there.
Can't do.
It's like one of those big things in Star Trek, isn't it? Going down to Earth, going down to San Francisco, the Starfleet headquarters, and interacting down on ground level. You know what I mean? Which is one of the things that's still not in the game yet.
That was asked, by the way, at the Star Trek convention, whether or not they were going to add that, and they were going like, not yet, but everybody wants it.
Yeah, that was whenever you were actually filming that, and I remember actually them sitting there talking about that, like, it's not there yet, but it's somewhere we want to go. So I do remember that.
Yeah, that's on my Twitcasting account, so that's still good.
Yeah, the funny thing is that I do have an announcement by a release date of the free to play. It's going to be by the end of this year.
The end of this year.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. Is at the end of, see, first it was first quarter next year, and then they backed it to this year. But I haven't heard. It's probably going to come out around just guessing the 19th of December.
Yeah. And my question is this: is that going to be a problem if they're going at the end of the month of whenever the great one is supposed to release, that everybody is so excited for, and it's gonna be the most revolutionary game ever, which you've already seen before. But it's gonna be around SOTOR's, Star Wars Republic. Do you think it's gonna be smart for them to go free to play at that time? I think so, because for me, I think that game's gonna be a big flop, and I know a lot of fanboys are gonna destroy me and shoot me for saying that, but I really think it's going to be funny when they're like, well, crap, we paid all the money for this game, and it's not what we thought it was. Yeah. So, what other sci-fi fantasy can we go out there to? Oh, there's Star Trek
Online, and, I think it was a good move at the time, because if, I hope they don't, the Old Republic flop, but I think they're going to. They're going to look for Elmos that are there at the time that are worth playing. And Star Trek Online will be one of them. My biggest complaint has been with Star Trek Online, it's never felt like an MMO. That's the biggest problem. I can remember trying to get into some fleet action, and it took a nightmare. It was literally a nightmare trying to get in there with your own fleet, with your own fleet mates. You know,
I have to laugh because I remember everything you guys everything you're talking about. Much I've experienced as well. I'll be honest with you. You know, I'm a big Star Trek fan. I'm dressed right now in a Star Trek outfit because we had costumes today at work, and those that know me know I have this outfit. I've still got it on. It's Star Trek is, you know, I have a ton of friends that do Star Trek. You know, I've got Televixen, you know, trying to get into the Star Trek movie, and, you know, I know all these people about Star Trek, just like I know a ton of people about Doctor Who. And, you know, I talk to these people, and everybody, I tried Star Trek Online. Yeah, it wasn't for me. There was only a very small group that stayed with it, and I like Gozer, I like Thomas. You know, I made an interview with Thomas that's on my Twitcasting. And I really am hoping that the free-to-play thing works out for them, but again, that's another game that is just not the standard MMO, and because of that, you're not going to have as many people last in it.
Yeah, it's one of those really niche games that, you know, it's a lot of people don't understand that. Like, they think that they have to be a huge Star Trek fan to be able to play the game, to understand it, and be able to get into it. And I'm not the hugest Star Trek fan ever. I didn't know what a triple was until Dave went to Las Vegas. I had no freaking clue. And like that game, I mean, it had bugs. It was a really buggy launch. It really was. And, you know, it's got way better at space combat. And I know the Eve fanboys are going to destroy me on this. I think it's got a better space combat than Eve does, where you can actually control your ship and be able to fly around.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Evasive moves and different things like that to be able to, you know, get away as, you know, point click destination, you know, circle around the, you know, something, or stay this many meters away from it. You know, that's just, I feel like I have more control of my ship than, oh well, you know, I hope I did my spreadsheet right, got my Excel document out, and I hope that this works the way I think it is, got my calculator out. Oh, we're playing Eve. So I definitely say the game in that aspect has Eve beat in space. I know I'm going to get destroyed on that, but oh well.
Well, I'll put it this way: Eve's space combat is the old 19th century wooden ship combat.
Yeah.
Where you turn, you do your broadsides, and you throw all this firepower out there. You're not moving extremely fast. Then you have what I call modern ship combat, which is what Star Trek is, where you've got faster ships, you've got cruisers, you're shooting off a load and then turning and trying to get to your other side. It's a lot quicker movement. Then you got Star Wars, which is fighter combat, which is like you're chasing each other back and forth and trying to get into each other's back to get your to get the beat on them, to take them down, just like a modern aircraft combat. That's the difference between the three combats. That's the way I'd put it.
But the thing with me is also that what would have been really ace, in my opinion, would have nailed it for Star Trek, is if they give players, actually, in fact, do it more often, instead of actually fighting from outside, when you're in the ship, but you're viewing from outside the ship. But what if you can actually pilot the ship from actually the captain's chair? You can actually see the actual ship. Like as if you see him in the episodes and the movies. You see it from a captain's standpoint, and you see, the actual bridge in front of you. You got your officers are at work, and the only thing that you see outside is the actual screen that comes up.
Yeah, right now the bridge on Star Trek Online is Pimp My Bridge.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Is that I think that would have been a cool thing, because they could, you know, when you're not in combat, they can give you the option to go outside, you know, get a camera angle outside the ship. But when you're going into combat, you're in the ship.
Yeah.
Which would have made it more of a, you know, would appeal far more to the Star Trek Online fans, I would have thought.
Well, I mean, one of the biggest complaints, not to keep dwelling on this, but one of the other biggest complaints about Star Trek Online is that you couldn't play a crew member. You were the captain of the ship, period.
Yes.
Done. You couldn't play a crew member. You couldn't have a crew of player characters together. Except if you do go down to the ground, you can do that. But when you're up in the space, you all have your own ships. You're not all sitting on one ship running the combat. And of course, you know, the purists for Star Trek didn't like that. It would have made a harder game to code and a harder game to play. But in this case, it would have been like, well, you know, they lost a lot of potential Star Trek fans who didn't do it that way.
The other thing they could have done as well is that, you know, if they are people not all being captains, if they had, say, for example, everybody starts off as a crew member, maybe, you know, if you pick an engineer, tactical officer, you don't go straight into being a commander or lieutenant and things like that. You all start off as ensigns, right?
Well, see, that was the original game when Perpetual had it. That was their plan. But then again, look how far that got. That's why Star Trek got picked up by Cryptic to make the Star Trek Online. Because Perpetual went out of business because they couldn't get that.
You know, the way I see it, if they are a way you can actually not be a captain at the start. The only way I think people should be a captain if you're a guild leader. If you're a guild leader,
that wouldn't work. You wouldn't have enough players.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
That's why they opted against it. So.
It would have been cool if they could pull that off, though. Because if they can, you know, it
would have been great if we could have pulled it off, but they couldn't pull it off.
That's the problem.
Not in today's age of MMOs. You could get away with that. You know, we got away with that back in the old text game.
Yeah.
I guess, what was that one?
What, MUDs and stuff?
That was a moo. That was a moo.
Yeah, the problem is now people are so stuck on hearing the word massive multiplayer, and if there's not a bunch of people playing, then a lot of people get worried about the game.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, nobody's playing, what's the deal with it? So,
that's it. Yeah, so moving on, I'm going to leave the Juggernaut to last, I think. Basically, Age of Conan. Conan... Can I just say Conan? Yeah, Conan.
We're not talking the comedian with red hair.
Conan, you know, he had an interview, basically with a player from a player standpoint who played, you know. And basically, I can't remember what guild they said he was from, but basically they asked him, you know, the best moments in Age of Conan, you know, from his raiding experience, PvP experience, and, you know, he gave a positive review, except for the part that, launch that he was part of. What do you guys think of, you know, Funcom going out their way and actually interviewing players?
Go ahead, Adam.
I think it could blow up in our face. But the thing is that they're only going to publish something that is like, you know, they're not going to publish something that somebody goes, yeah, well, your game sucks. I can't stand it. And it's horrible, and this is bad, this is bad, and this is bad. So, I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, it's controlled media. Completely controlled media.
Controlled media, I agree. I think it's a way for them to really ensure that there is somebody saying good stuff. So then they can put it out there, put in minds of these saying, hey, these guys are saying this. When in fact they didn't.
Well, here's the way I would do it. I wouldn't have done it quite the way they did it. Oh, I don't know if you guys, well, Mashi, you probably haven't, but Adam, you may have seen the Ford commercials, the way they've been doing the recent Ford commercials. where they have somebody do a test drive and then they bring him inside and they think they're just going to do an exit interview and it turns out it's a press conference.
Oh yeah.
I think I've seen that.
That sort of thing would work, I think, better. Because you would be going in, you would have somebody, it could be, somebody who hasn't even played the game, let them play the game, they get a good feel of it, see what they like about it and stuff like that, and then drop them in front of a bunch of game site reporters and say, okay, ask this guy your questions, well, how did you like the game? Well, I liked it, that, it would be more realistic than kind of I'm going to choose a player and we're going to make sure he says good stuff.
Yeah.
I actually ought to keep a camera, if we're going to do that, then keep a camera on them the whole time that they're playing.
Yeah.
And then
have him talk while he's playing, kind of like what we all do.
Yeah. I mean, that would work out a heck of a lot better because I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm playing that game and it sucks, I'm going to make it known that, gosh, this is horrible combat system.
Yeah.
Or, gosh, this isn't working very well, or, this is... I really wish that what they would have done with that game is, they had the right idea with the way the swinging system is, of having it where you hit the buttons to go through the different, if somebody's blocking on one side, you can attack them from this side.
Yeah.
And, hitting the different buttons instead of just going through and, the WoW system of, targeting on them, then hit 1, hit 2, hit 3, recycle again, 1, 2, 3, over and over and over again. The thing is if they would have went more with a Darkfall feel to it, of actually you're aiming and swinging and things like that.
Yeah, that would have been neat.
That game would have blown up. But, I mean, it's good that what it does now. But in the very beginning, the thing that turned me off the most of that game was whenever it was linear. It didn't feel like it was an open world to a certain extent. It felt like you were put into a little arena, which we've all experienced with going in and playing, if you've ever played EverQuest, and if you ever played EverQuest 2. You feel like you're in an arena base. You can go in this arena. You can't explore outside of this. You can't take a certain route that you normally wouldn't take just because you want to. And that's really what Age of Conan destroyed it for me.
Well, the thing about Age of Conan is you really had to get to about level 30, 35 before you finally got out of that area and you could jump back and forth between zones.
Yeah.
And it literally took you to level 35, and that's, the game has a maximum level of 80, but it's like, oh my god, I am sick of this goddamn terrain.
Yeah.
That's my biggest
You just want a new place, new scenery,
I want to go someplace different. This is boring the hell out of me.
Yep.
And until you're level 35, you really can't do that. Once you're 35, you can jump around a lot more, easier. But it was just, my character's still level 78 over there. I haven't gone up. But the good thing is it's free to play now, so I can play it whenever I want.
Yeah, that's the good thing about it.
I think that's where that's gonna save that game, is where people are going to be like, I've got a couple 4 hours, 5 hours to play. I'm gonna play it. Okay, I'm going to play this game for a little bit, because MMOs, everybody, they're very taxing to you, because you feel like you're paying for it, so you have to play it, and you feel bad for whenever you go and play another game. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, I'm playing this game, but my guild needs me, this needs me, and this needs me, and I really don't have the time for it. So they just drop off, the face of the earth and quit playing it. So I think it's definitely good for them to go free to play, but like I said, this interview of this, like I said, it's controlled media. I mean, of course, they're going to say, we interview a player, that really enjoys Age of Conan, but honestly, did he really enjoy it? Or is he just a fanboy of it and you might pay him, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. The other thing I thought that kind of killed the Conan from the start is that when, all that channel stuff, you had about 30 different channels, and that's where they lost the feel of MMO as well. It wasn't open terrain. It wasn't free-flowing, you know, like in WoW. That's what makes WoW so successful, even though I despise the game right now, is that, you know, you can go from one zone to the other without zoning, you know, without a loading screen. You know, it's only the only time you get a loading screen if you go from Kalantama or the Eastern Kingdom, if you go into Outland or Northrend.
I'm because I played EverQuest and EverQuest 2 that the zoning didn't bother me too bad. The problem, as I saw it in that zoning thing, is it wasn't that you could go across the zone in multiple different areas. You know, it wasn't the biggest problem I had with Conan, which is similar, but it's not what you think. I know Conan. I know the world of Conan. I know what the map looks like. The maps don't look right.
The maps don't look right, nor do the terrains.
Where's?
Yeah, they don't look natural at all. It looks like a designer made it. And, you know, I know the game's designed, but, you know, it has to have that feel to it, that right feel.
Well, I mean, countries aren't even correctly placed against one another.
No.
In Age of Conan. They're a bunch of giant squares. You're on a square, you're on a rectangular map board with squares one next to each other, and you can go from this square to this square. That's how it works. That's not the map of Conan. You can find the map of Conan out there on the web. It's real easy. It's not like he didn't draw 14,000 different versions of the dumb thing so you can see where everything was at. He's got the entire world drawn out and stuff that's not next to one another. You're going like, okay, I've read the Conan novels and I want to go to Vanir. How come Vanir is off of that zone? It's like, you know, 3/4 of the way across the map. Why isn't it on the regular map? That's where it really blew the reality. And that's where I feel it blew up.
I think it's all down to the fact that, you know, Fungon didn't take the time with the game. They didn't really take the time. They just threw a game together, rushed to the release. It was bugged from the start, and it failed from the start. You know, and a game like that, it was hyped. It was hyped. You know, and you see the graphics. But I gotta say though, for Conan, to this day, I would say Conan's graphics is still the best. You know, for graphics, it's still the best. That's all it's got at the moment. You know. And, you know, it's got endgame content, you know, some good stuff in it for endgame. You know, one thing I do remember from Conan is that Black Castle dungeon, when you went up that one stairway, and if you go halfway up, they get this big boulder coming down. And that was a bit like an Indiana Jones style going on there. You know, and that kind of did remind me, you know, that was quite fun. But the thing is, the feeling of that didn't carry on through. And you got to 55, you had to grind your way then from 55 to 80, which was annoying. They didn't take the time to add the quests, and that's what destroyed the game.
I have a big problem with is with MMOs is it shouldn't be me looking at my my experience bar or anything like that, or checking my stats of how much my character has progressed. Is the most fun that I have with MMOs is whenever I'm going through and I hear, if I level up and I didn't realize I was that close, so you're like, wow, I just leveled up. I didn't expect that at all. That's whenever MMOs are fun. Because, if it feels like a grind, I get burnt out really quick.
Yeah. And that's why I think, a lot of MMOs today, that they come around to make. Gotta remember that and make them a less grindy feeling. There's always going to be that generic questing system where go kill 6 boars, but they're gonna make it fun whilst you're doing it. Give something, give a taste factor to it.
I actually, going back to our other bugaboo that we like to talk about a lot, I think actually that might be where Star Wars: The Old Republic might actually succeed is because of that.
I
think that's kind of where what they're trying to do in that game, and of course our other one, Secret World, is going to be doing that too. And it's not as much of the fact of I leveled; it's I'm going through the story progression, and that's where I think both of those games might actually have it right. Is because of that. Conan, there's a story there, but God, is it hard to figure it out, and it doesn't really put you into it until the time you finally meet Conan. Do you finally get kind of an idea what's going on? And I think that's where they kind of blew it. That's another area where I think they kind of blew it. Now, like I said, the terrain is a horrible thing for me, but the Conan actually has storylines in it, but they're extremely hard to follow.
Yep.
Yeah, but what happens when the story ends? That's the problem, is with games that have, it's the next level, it's the next level, it's the next level. That's the thing that keeps pushing you. Okay, well, then you have, if a game is more story-based, what happens when the story ends? You know what I mean? What's your end game? How are you going to keep people? And that's the thing that I think WoW has done so well, is being able to, they're keeping people. I mean, they're the most subscribed game out there, pay for. Or it's the game that everything else is compared to, should I say, because there's probably some Korean games that are ridiculously more players. But what happens when, these stories start running out and the gameplay starts running out? And WoW's really good about releasing new patches with new raids, new patches with new dungeons and stuff like that. And that's something that these, companies got to realize is, you may have made an awesome game, but when there's no content there left more, to consume, you lose people. People get bored. People don't want to do the same stuff over and over and over again. So
that's the thing. And that's I think what's also killed Golden, because they, with WoW, they're bringing in expansions. I'm always complaining about the expansions they're bringing in, but they're also bringing in story. They always bringing in something with it, which I gotta say with Blizzard, they do make some good stories. They got a good lore with with Warcraft. There's good lore there, and they can work from that. But with Conan, they got a book, they got the Conan lore, but they don't stick to it. But anyway, moving on. Star Wars: The Old Republic, going on from one to the other. A Warzone video, along with the game system page for the Warzones, have been added, which shows how the actual Warzones will play towards the game story. The only thing is with that, the only type of PvP there is in Star Wars is the Warzones. There is no open world PvP.
Which is, to me, I enjoyed Galaxies where you, every once in a while, you could run into somebody and be like, oh crap, that guy is going to kill me, or I'm going to kill this guy. That's I just don't understand why they're going down this road with that game. It's going to kill it. It really is. It's going to limit people to going to certain spots again, as usual. But I did hear something smart that they did. Instead of doing a staggered release for the U.S. and overseas, they're actually going to be. They actually put them both together now.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing because everyone was in the past and split them out, which they've always given the edge on the people who, especially World of Warcraft was one of them. That when the Burning Crusade came around. I can remember people just camping outside the portals to Outland, just waiting to go poaching through it. And the person who actually was lucky enough to have it for midnight, and then onwards, was the first one probably to hit 70 at the time.
Now my question is this: is it going to EA's producing this game, or not producing, but it's
distributing?
Yes, distributing. Now, my question is this. EA was distributing also Battlefield, right?
Yeah.
Battlefield released, they said that they are up 400% higher servers than they were Battlefield 2, right? So, they're having all kinds of problems with, issues with bandwidth, issues with all these different, servers not having, enough servers, and people complaining that there's disconnects and stuff like that. With EA having this wonderful, this wonderful team of developers and also, devs and
server guys.
Yeah, server guys. What are they going to do whenever this server or these servers get released for the Old Republic? Is it a big worry for everybody that there's going to be a huge crash? Is it going to be a problem with the? I know they were trying to stagger out by how if you pre-order the game first, you get in
right
like that.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be a big factor? I'm seeing it right now. People were complaining about Rift having load queues, but I see this baby crashing.
I can definitely see it from the start because, the servers coming from EA, looking at the Battlefield 3 release, there are disconnects and stuff. If they're coming from EA for the Old Republic, then I can definitely see them crashing because, I hate to say, EA doesn't have really much experience providing service for an MMO company. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're going to hate to hear the thing I'm going to say then.
I don't think they got, enough guts. Even though the EA are all about money, but they're not. I don't think they're going to give what the fans want in a sense. A good, stable, running game that people can play without getting disconnects. Because if they get that, they don't realize that the MMO world is not like playing FIFA. That's their biggest niche, I think, for EA, is FIFA. They should stick to FIFA. Not try and come into the MMO world, because, to be honest with you, I think BioWare should have turned down the offer from EA.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it. I might be eating my words with it, but I really... With EA's run about with MMOs, it's not a good line.
Okay, now I'll bring up something else. Funcom is distributing Secret World in the United States with EA.
Yeah.
All right. So let's put this in perspective. The two games that we're really looking forward to for Blacklisted, both of them are distributed by EA. I'm hoping maybe since they've got a couple months here with what they've experienced with the Battlefield, that they'll get their butts in line and they'll figure it out, and then they'll have enough and not have that problem with Star Wars. Because there's going to be a huge initial influx of people in Star Wars. Then people are going to experience it, and then they're going to lose half of them. It's the way of MMOs, unfortunately, but I really think they've got. I don't know. I am with the rest of you worried about EA. Now, EA has had an MMO for a long period of time, Ultima Online, but it's a different kind of game and a lot less resources to use.
Have you all tried to go back to Ultima? Anybody?
Not anymore.
Not recently, no.
I went back maybe 4 months ago and did my 14-day trial again, and they sent me an email of check it out again, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Wow, I've never realized how the mobs in the game, how they move so glitchy. It's like they walk, pause, walk, pause, walk, pause. They lock onto you. Now they're walking continuously to you. I've never realized that until recently. Yeah. I was like, wow, I used to think this, I don't know if you build an image in your brain of games that you used to play when you were younger, or what it is. It's like, yeah, I remember this game was so awesome, and then all of a sudden you go back to it, and you're like, God, I played this crap. How did I do this?
How did I play that?
Yeah, and that's exactly what that was for me. So I'm really worried about EA having. Hopefully, the BioWare guys are smart enough to see the launch of Rift. Rift was pretty much, I mean, yeah, it had bugs, but it's probably the smoothest release of an MMO I've seen in a long time, and I mean a long time. Because everybody wants to say that, well, it's nothing like WoW. WoW had it, like, really? Were you there in the very beginning when WoW launched?
Yeah, WoW launch was terrible. You can barely play for a month. You know, and, Rift was an amazing launch. Now, the other thing with me, with EA, is that I'm pretty sure you guys remember this game called Command & Conquer, is that before it was EA, it was with a game company called Westwood. Now, Westwood were fantastic for RTSs. You know, the best RTS series I've seen, honestly, I know all StarCraft fans are going to shout at me for it, but I think Command & Conquer, you know, coming from 95, Red Alert 2, revolutionized the RTS genre. And EA messed that up. They went and bought it and actually destroyed the whole series. So, for me, I got a funny feeling that if EA get too much of a grips on the older public, and even to an extent with a secret world, I hope they don't, even in an attempt to try and bleed the actual titles dry, to the point that they don't care for the players. They're just worried about the money.
I guess that's what it's become now. It's become a money game, you know, and that's what people want. And the more money, you know, and the more dumbed down the game, the more everybody will get into it, the more money they'll make. And this,
you don't want to get into a situation which happened with Star Trek Online and Champions Online with Atari. You don't want to end up in that situation.
Nope.
Because Atari turned them into cash cows and spent zero on marketing and zero on development, really, when you got down to it.
Yeah, I hope, EA, to be honest with you, for our sake, for the secret world, keep their hands off. I hope they just let Funcom do their thing.
Just a distribution, but I'm really hoping that's just a distribution deal.
Which
would mean going through the EA store and whatever.
Yeah, I hope it's just... I don't mind EA giving money to Funcom. Funcom need money. But as long as they don't actively involve themselves, then I think it'll be alright. But moving on, we've got Aeon. The Harvest Revel began from the 26th to bring the Halloween feeling. They have arranged witches to go around on Ando quests, along with the pumpkin head being nowhere to be seen. Similar to what the last year's basically event took place, but this time the pumpkin head can't be seen. So what do you think of this Harvest Revel for Aeon?
Just another event.
Yeah, I have to be the same. I have to say the same. The thing is, like City Heroes currently is having their event, and WoW was having their event. I've seen the City of Heroes event for 7 damn years. I've seen the WoW event for 7 damn years. It's once they put one in, it's all great and fine the first time you go through it, but then you come back around the next year, hey, look, this same event again. That's what you got to work with. I'm hoping that people understand that and stop doing that.
Yeah, that's one thing that they got. For WoW, it's always the same every year. They could at least change it up a bit. It's like, for example, every year they have the Horseman thing. Could they have something else instead of the Horseman thing? Because then at least it has variety to the actual events. I can understand having, the events, but they have to be actually carbon copies of the last one.
But then we have to have the Harvest Festival here in 3 weeks when it's Thanksgiving in the United States. And then about 4 weeks after that, we have to rescue Rudolph again.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand changing the world for a little bit, but it's just like, what do I get out of it? And people are hoarders of these things, and this, I guess if you're into that kind of stuff, that's cool and all, but I'm just not the type of person that's like, oh, wow, hey, guys, check this out. 10 years ago, I played this game, and here's a pumpkin from the original. Like, I don't really care that much about it. So, the events and stuff like that, yeah, it has, I mean, everything has an event now, and my big thing is with Aeon is the 3.0 is coming out, and that's supposed to be revolutionary for that game. We'll see if it makes me come back to it or not.
It'll be interesting to see what he does to Aeon, because, you know, Aeon was another game that had a lot of problems from the start.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
But the thing is with that, though, is they had the Asian release before they do the the US release. So that's a good thing that happens, is they test everything out on that side, they break it on that side. Oh, guess what? They've got 6 months to fix it before it comes to this side. So, I'm a huge fan of that. Yeah, they get it before us, but it's fixed when it comes to us.
And the thing that I've learned when Aeon first came out, you know, everybody at work knew I was an MMO player, and my new coworker comes up to me and says, "Oh, what? Female? Oh, are you going to be playing Aeon?" And I said, "Well, I really didn't consider it, but it's pretty." That was her actual words.
It's the Asian thing, isn't it?
We're pretty. But when I looked at it, you know, I never got into it. I was already engrossed in WoW at that point. So.
Yeah, for me, you know, I play a lot of remembers from the launch is that you get to level 25. You know, going from 1 to 25 was quite fun. You know, it's kind of similar to what we've seen in the past, especially from WoW. Get level 25, and then the rest was grind. You know, it was literally, it was awful. You know, I know most Koreans love grinding, you know, but there's no excuse for that. You know, because us Western folks love to quest our way, or at least battle away against in PvP. You know, get experience that way, but not grinding our asses off day after day on mobs.
I never realized. See, when I first started playing Aeon the first time, it was like my last resort kind of MMO, and I was like, I need to play this, and it was good. I admit. And at the time that they were waiting for 2.0, I think, to come out, the assault on the bazaar or something like that, and I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
But at the time, people were complaining about such a grind for that, and they're like, you know what, we're going to do a double XP until the expansion pack launches. And I was like, awesome. So I played the hell out of it, right? So what happened was, I changed my email address, and the area that I was playing in, it was what was it? It was some kind of ordeal where they tried to say that I was trying to sell my account. And so I was like, no, this is not, I'm not trying to sell my account. I just changed emails, and also I changed areas that I was living in, and also ISPs. And they're like, nope, you're trying to sell your account, because that was a huge game that gold farmers were trying to get into. And so I lost my account, and I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm not going to fight with you about this account over and over and over again. I'm just going to go and get a new account. So I was like, you know, it's not going to take me that long to level that back up again. No big deal. The freaking double XP, stopped. And I have never sit there and, about killed myself trying to get back up to the level. I was level 37, I think, and trying to get a character back up to level 37, even though I knew all the quests and all that stuff again, and it was so much easier for me to go back through. I've never seen such a grindy game in my life, and my God, that game is grindy.
Oh, yes. You know, the funny thing was...
Lineage.
Oh, Lineage was another grinding. But the thing is, I expected it from Lineage, because that came up before WoW, and I expected it from it, but not for Aeon. You know, because I thought those guys would have learned a lesson that us Western folks don't like grinding like that. Those Koreans love it, but we don't. The mentality of the Western folks is totally different. Halo had a fantastic, I would say the perfect launch, but I would say it was better than WoW's. And considering that he went in with a lot of promise, I loved, one thing I did love from it is that third faction being the NPCs. And when you go into the actual, it was a part of the Earth where you go in and they actually not just fighting each other, but you actually also have the demon folks coming in, being the third faction in amongst the fight. That was fun. That's good.
It was wild whenever that would happen too, because you would be sitting there battling, over a fortress, and all of a sudden, next thing you know is you'd have the dragons coming, the Bazaar, or whatever the hell they're called, I can't remember, but you would have them come in right in the middle of the battle, and you would be like, really? We're trying to take this down, and you're coming, oh my gosh, why in the world is this NBC doing this crap right now? We don't need this. So yeah, it was freaking, I love that. It is awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I really love the, I'm going to say it again, the Secret World, 3 factions, I think it's going to make the game more exciting. It's going to add variety and depth, which I thought with Aeon, it brought the variety and depth in with having 3 factions. Alright, 2 of them were playable, the other one was an NPC, but 3, that did it, for me. But, moving on, I just mentioned Secret World, over 500,000 beta applications are being sent in. What do you think, guys?
We'll see when it happens, man. Like the people wanting the beta. A lot of people don't understand that that's a beta. You are testing the game out to help the company. A lot of people see it as, oh, this is a trial. It's not a trial, it's a beta. You're trying to find bugs, you're trying to fix things, you're trying to test stuff out, and people make a judgment on, the beta was horrible for this. Well, yeah, but the game in-game is a lot better. I mean, my God, if I would have went off of how the beta was for Battlefield 3, I wouldn't be playing Battlefield 3 right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, same with WoW, really, think about it. The beta for WoW was terrible. But yet, people, one thing with WoW that did it is that it was graphically good at the time. And the UI was good at the time, which, it captivated a lot of people, and that's why they had the problems at launch. But for beta these days, the mentality of a beta player these days is going in and actually expecting a already polished game, which people got to realize that a beta is there for testing. You're stress testing, you're looking for the bugs. You're not in there to play the bugs, but you're there to actually look for them and actually report them, and a lot of them don't do it. And they got to realize that any video out there at the moment on the Secret World is from beta. So there's what, 5 months now between now and release. So there's 5 months worth of beta, 5 months of polishing, and 5 months of adding to the game. And considering how long they've had with Funcom with the Secret World, and they've learned from Conan, which to be honest with you, I think Secret World is going to do it.
I agree. I mean, I agree with the fact that people don't understand what a beta is. There's too many people that do that. There's too many people that go into a beta and instead of reporting the exploits, write them down so they can use them when a game releases.
Yeah.
That kind of garbage is a problem. Now, when I was in the Champions Online beta, we were going along and everything was working pretty smooth. And me and my buddies were in there, and we thought this game was going to, do pretty good. And then they did early release and everything changed. And they literally switched everything out on us at the last moment because they were actually hiding what they were really doing. And it's like, okay, this game's a lot different than what I played before. And a lot of people, it lost a lot of people from the beta because of that. Yeah. So you gotta watch out with your betas as well, because you don't know if what you're really playing is really what you're going to be playing. And trust me, when you're talking Secret World, knowing those developers, you're not going to be playing what you think you're going to be playing when you're in the beta versus when the game actually goes live. I'm pretty darn sure they're switching everything out on you.
Yeah, and especially with, how they're doing it with the no levels and classes. There's going to be things being changed, tweaked, added, removed. So when they go into launch, they probably had the minds already set on a build, or had a mindset on what kind of weapons they want. And they go into launch and they hang on, this thing's not there, or this weapon's not there, or this way I used to play is not there, so they're going to have to adapt.
Well, okay, let's put it in an example. Right now they're telling us that the Savage Coast is the beginning area for the Templars. Right? I mean, that's what they've been pretty much hinting at. The Savage Coast is going to be the beginning. What if that's the end game for the Templars?
Yeah, that would.
What if they're tricking you? Because I'll tell you, these guys are devious little suckers when it's coming to Secret World. I wouldn't put it past them for blowing everybody's mind. Oh yeah, by the way, that was the end game. So you're going to have to, at least with Secret World, you're going to have to go in there with a grain of salt, saying, this might not be what, the Savage Coast might be end up being the sword area for the dragon. You're not going to know.
I think is going to happen is that I wouldn't be surprised that Funcom is actually doing something, maybe giving out some info which is kind of like masking what they've really got. It's like kind of like feeding a bone, but yet putting it away at the last minute, and then feeding us a different bone. And I think that we could be seeing that a little bit from them.
Well, the big thing is that a lot of times in the very beginning of an MMO and different games and things like that is, what the developer will do is you'll be possibly like 5 to maybe 3 progressions back from what the final version is. But also I've seen developers go through and put in stuff that is actually they want to test out for maybe later on, like, okay, well, what would happen if we throw this out there and it just, let's throw this one armor that's the in-game armor out this early on and stuff like that. So, I really, I like that they're doing the beta so soon. I really do. I know, there's some people that are in the beta and things like that. I don't really know if I want to be in the beta. I want to be in the beta for this one, but I kind of don't want to be in the beta for this one because I don't want to know the puzzles and things like that directly. Oh, well, this puzzle is like this is how it works, and kind of breaking it for myself. So.
I hope also that the puzzles that they bring in are actually hard. I want some of them to be solid to the point that actually, alright, fair enough, some players might get frustrated to the point where I can't do this puzzle, so I'm going to leave it alone. But I think that it might actually, if they can actually make the game to a point that it actually makes the player actually want to do it, even if it's hard. I think this game will actually do that, bring people into it. And I'm the same with you, Adam. I kind of don't, if I got a paid invitation, even though I think I probably do, is I would say I probably won't play because I don't want to spoil it for launch.
That's the bad thing is, but knowing me, if I got that beta, I would be like, let's fire this baby up. Let's go tonight. This is happening. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, the other thing is about is that, you know, like, even like if through others of us got like invitations, like a few of us would be tempted to fire it up, right? But if, like, say for example, if we actually help out off, and somebody around us mentions certain things, we might be actually egged on to actually go in because when you see this, that's in it. I'll have to have a look. You know, it'd be kind of hard not to get like sucked in as well.
Oh, I can believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really do. You know, the thing, like we were saying on the last show, is that I think the old Republic is going to kind of die off in the time that the Secret World comes out. And when the Secret World comes out, they'll pick up the mess that the old Republic is left.
We'll see. Like I said, I think you're still going to have those die-hard, I'm with the ship until it goes down, because they have no other, you know, nothing else to go to. So.
Yeah.
Yep. That's that. The thing is you'll have a drop, but you're not gonna. You're not gonna have the kind of drop that you're thinking just because of the fact that you've got the series has too many fanboys. It's just not gonna happen. The fanboys will stick with it thick and thin, and you know they're just gonna stay there. And you know, no matter how bad it is. Ooh, it's Star Wars. You're not gonna get past that.
Yeah, a great example of that right now as well. And
well, yeah, but that's starting to chip away, but it's not. But yeah, I mean, right now the WoW people, you have to look at it in the WoW person's perspective. And I'll be honest with you, this happened. This split our guild between EverQuest 1 and 2. We had a group of people that wanted to go to EverQuest 2, and I was one of them. And the other group was basically like, "Oh, I've spent all this time over here. Why do I want to leave?"
yeah,
and that's your thing. What you're going to have now, what you have with WoW. It's not the fact that, well, I want to try something different. Well, those people are going to wander. You know they're going to wander. It's well, why should I go over there when I've spent hours and hours and days and weeks and months and years over here working to get my character up? What's going to draw me away?
Yeah.
You're not going to draw people away. You're going to draw some people away from WoW with Star Wars because the fanboy aspect. I honestly don't think you're going to do that. The Secret World. The Secret World is going to have to be a word-of-mouth situation to bring people in. It's not going to have the instant fan base like Star Wars does.
And I gotta say though, for Star Wars, I think though that story-wise, they've nailed it. I think story-wise, even though there is some fundamental flaws, I think they do need to address. I won't go into it. I'm not going to break the NDA, but there is some things that story-wise with it, I think is quite good. You know, from my point, I think WoW can learn from it quite a lot. But talking about moving on, this is a big one for us. Pandaren monks, or should I say Kung Fu Panda. Basically an interview was given to Ghostcrawler about the Pandaren monks for World of Warcraft in the what do you call it? Mr. War again was that called? Basically, yeah. They gave first one of them, for example, was that the racial abilities they were given for the Pandarans was a bonus to cooking and eating, and they were also given them a moderate bonus to rested experience to make it less daunting for for them to level up to 90. And they were also, like, for example, got a mystical martial arts ability to paralyze opponents by touching their pressure points, which is another thing that they were given. But the part that kind of caught my eye, apart from being for both factions, that they're saying that there's free, the free ways that you go down with these guys is one is a melee monk class, which you attack with your fists and your feet. The other one's a tank, which is a brewmaster, and the one before was called a windwalker. And basically, the third one is let me check it.
It was some sort of mystic.
Yeah,
Remember what they called it?
Mystic Walker, I think. With Windwalker,
Mistwalker.
Yeah, Mistwalker. There we go, we got it.
Yeah.
It's called a Mistwalker, and basically the Mistwalker is supposed to be the healing monk, the Brewmaster is the tank, and the Windwalker is the DPS, but apparently that they can use, basically the tanking aspect of this is going to be down through leather. So basically the monk's tanking is going to be based on agility stats. So basically they're going to be taking gear from rogues and druids. So basically rogues and druids are not going to be happy because they're going to be agility items coming from them. And the other part is as well, for the healing aspect of the monks, they are going to be taking leather from druids, resto druids, which is going to annoy the heck out of the druids. And shamans.
And somewhat shamans. Yeah. Yeah, but what else are you going to do? You're going to have conflict with everything else, and leather makes the most sense.
Yep.
The thing is that, yeah, I knew, I had a feeling that it was going to come out with with those three aspects. So you can have a different tank and a healer. That's really what it is. It can be any of the three classes. We can and have the aspect, and I don't know. There's a part of me that loves pandas, just loves pandas. Period. There's another part of me that just because things like Genma from Ranma 1-2. He's my favorite character in that. So, and I've got all the comics of PandaCon, and so that type of setting is good for me, but I'm afraid we're going to run into the Death Knight again.
I think we are. I think
where the panda is just going to be so much better than everything else.
I think we're going to have a Death Knight situation where everybody's rolling a Death Knight at launch, and you have about 500 Death Knights running into Outland, and everybody's all of a sudden an expert on Death Knights. But we're going to have the same thing with the monks and the pandas. But the other thing that you also mentioned for the itemization of the pandas, which I got right there, apart from the leather armor that they'll be wearing, is that they can actually use, for the Mistwalkers, they can use either staves, maces, axes and swords, but monks can't use shields, which is fair enough. Now I'm expecting them to give monks tanking, considering that in Dungeons and Dragons they were tanking anyway. But it'd be interesting to see what they imagine fist whip weapons or something that will be for the brewmasters, for the tanking. So yeah, what do you think of that, Adam? What do you think?
I don't know why they go down these roads with, I really think they ought to, instead of just doing one character, I think they ought to do, multiple races, because, like you said, it's the same stuff again. It's going to be the same thing. You're going to see a million pandas running around everywhere. You're going to see a million of the monk class running around everywhere. And they need to have more things whenever they release. They need to have at least, make it a real expansion pack. You know what I mean? Why don't they just make it a huge expansion, like 5 different new characters or something like that, instead of what they're doing now is, oh, well, we're just going to do, one at a time, but we're going to do it really quick, That's something I don't understand. But
$1. $20 to $30 per supplement. That's what motivates that.
That's what it does, yeah. And the pretty graphics, you know, the McDonald's field, it appeals to the graphics, you know, it appeals to all kids.
Well, the thing, yeah, that's the big thing is now they went away from the whole, you know, they had Cataclysm, which was supposed to be, you know, death and new, you know, terror and all kinds of stuff going on and ripping a world apart. Now they're going to the cute and cuddly side of it again to film. That's not my cup of tea, but yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing is as well that, you know, I do really think Blizzard should have brought in, alright, they brought the monk class in, but they should have brought another one in. And maybe another race in with it. You know, maybe put the pandas on the Horde, because pandas were probably more aligned to Taurans than anybody else. And then maybe give another race to the Alliance, along with 2 X classes. So then at least then, that if you have one class, everybody's going to roll that class. But if you have 2, you can kind of split it out a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, man, I'd like to see at least 5. Roll out 5, and there you go.
Not happening. You won't have that in any game.
Have that hybrid. They can go for both, make it the pandas. There you go. Then go 2 on each.
Well, I think the key thing, though, that really is kind of showing, which may end up being interesting, is if we've finally got a race that's both sides.
Yeah.
Will that now mean will they unlock the each other's races for each side?
I hope not.
I'm serious. I'm really serious. I can see them going that route. I really can. And that'll be the death knell of the game.
Yeah. I think
you know, that'll be the biggest death knell to the game that they could ever do. But by doing this with the panda, I really think they're starting down that road.
Or do you think it's going to be like they did with the where you could remember how you could only have one character like per like server? You could only have one horde, you know, one alliance.
Yeah.
Now you can do both. And that really kind of aggravates me because it's like, you know, oh, well, Horde is so bad of doing, you know, Warsong, we need to do something else. Let's go to this side and win. Okay, well, this is going to be my winning character.
Yeah.
This is going to be my PvP character. This is going to be my, and I like the fact of, I'm a big fan of PvP. And I think if you keep things separate, things are awesome, and they can't make another character on this server to conflict with more crap going on. So I don't know. Yeah, they probably will. They'll probably be like, oh well, you can be every single race on every single thing, and it doesn't matter. So
yeah. The other thing is as well that I'm reading as well that there's no auto attack with the monks, which means that, you know, they're probably going to have to hit the actual skills that they're given. Basically, but the one thing that caught my eye, and Dave said it before I actually seen it, is that they're going to be chain combos, which means that, like the same by Earth, for example, you know, media classes with the monks different in resources the players might expect. Whether they have both light and dark resources, the powers are different. We even tried to have the monk healing spec used a lot of punches and kicks, while monks characters will care about weapons and weapon contributes to their damage and healing. You don't see weapons in a lot of attacks, but we use them as well. But from non-gameplay standpoint, you know, this seems to me that the way they're going down the talent tree and stuff like that, they kind of to me personally, killing off variety, the way they're coming in with this, which I think, you know, what people liked about WoW, it wasn't too linear from the launch of WoW. You know, it was open, it was new. You know, they had the story, it looked good. It was easy to play. And right now, I think they're killing variety. That's what they're doing. You know what you guys think?
I don't know. It's really. I don't know. That's a hard question, Dave.
No, I don't think that's going to be as much of a concern, to be honest.
Yeah, well,
I think one thing that I've learned over the years of Blizzard, with the exception, there's been a couple exceptions, is that they do know how to pretty much balance their stuff when it comes through. I don't see that being as much of an issue. Their PvP stuff has also dropped significantly over the years, so I don't know.
Well, I suppose I'll take this time now to go to the chat room. I can see there's some people in the chat room. What do you guys think of the expansion coming in? Do you guys think that World of Warcraft, the Mr. Pandaria, is going to be something? I noticed Cosmic is in here. Are you looking forward to the expansion coming in? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing with the monk class or the pandas? Anybody with or against it?
Well, like I said before in a previous show, that to me, I don't see as much negatives on it as a lot of people do. Again, I see the negative coming down the line when when there's Night Elf Horde and Tauren alliance. That's really where I see where things will blow up, but that's down the line. That's not really the supplement. The other thing is, they're only going to have two more. Theoretically, they're only going to have two more supplements after this, Mr. Pandaria, and then they'll go to WoW 2. So, and who knows what WoW 2 is going to end up being, or what the rest of WoW 2. But I don't think we're talking two more supplements. We're talking, they've been releasing one a year, so they've got basically 2 more years to go.
Yeah. You think they're going to quit after 100? I really don't think so.
I think they'll go to the WoW 2.
I don't think they will. I don't think they'll keep it. I really do. I think that they will keep it because same thing with EverQuest. You have EverQuest 1 and EverQuest 2. And you're going to keep that and keep them
I
separate.
could definitely see them doing that.
Yeah, keep them separate. And you see how many expansions you have for EverQuest. My God, every time the EverQuest 2 gets the expansion, EverQuest 1 gets the expansion. The same vice versa. I mean, it's ridiculous. And
but I'm just saying it's going to be at least, what I'm trying to get at is it's going to be about 2 years from now will be when they release WoW 2. Because they've got the new game Triton that you haven't told us jack about.
Oh yeah,
that released in between.
And Titan's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. It's not approach Titan like they done with WoW, but if they bring Titan in where they revolutionize the MMO community once again, that'd be something for Blizzard. I won't put it past them to doing it again, mind. To be honest with you, I think that personally for me, I'm sick of WoW. And mind you, I've always said this in the past. I will never play another WoW expansion and end up playing it. So, and this time, I will say I mean it. So, moving on.
I've survived almost a year now since I canceled my account. It's getting close to my 1-year anniversary from when I canceled my account. So.
Hell, I've tried 3 times to get into that game, and I cannot do it at all. I just hate the world of it, man. I cannot get into the world of it. And the pandas are pretty much like the icing on the cake. Was the goblins. The goblins kind of screwed it for me because I was like, oh yeah, goblins tinker around with stuff, and then all of a sudden they have this roadster. Like, where you're driving down a road in this, like, I don't know. It's like they had a drag strip highway crap. And
Oh God.
Really?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And
That's why I didn't pick up.
you know, then they're going this cute and cuddly crap. And I've said it from the very beginning. If they would make a Lord of the Rings, like in the world of Lord of the Rings, get away from the damn books, use the lore of the books, but yet have another like aspect of it, like later on, because there's books that like go.
Can't do later on.
Huh?
Can't do later on. Not in Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings books end.
No, there's the other ones. His son's still writing.
But he's writing prequels.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he was writing like new things. Oh gosh, well crap, then hell with it. Go with the new storyline with it down the road, and make the Lord of the Rings, you know, a PvP like, you know, races and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. But they have that crap in the game, and it's called Monster versus Player, which is shitty.
Yeah.
But I like that kind of, you know, I like that kind of style of a game. I like kind of like a realistic MMO, if that makes any kind of sense of, like, a fantasy realistic part to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it does. It's... Well, that's why you like Darkfall. I mean...
Darkfall was a baby.
You know, there was oh God, what was the one the other one that I never played? Dark Age of Camelot.
Oh yeah, that was my baby.
You know, those kind of games I know you guys like. I mean, I don't. So, but that's just a personal thing. But I see where your point is. Yeah, the Lord of the Rings. What you would have to do with Lord of the Rings is that you would have to put it before the Hobbit book.
Yeah.
Which is not saying that that's a bad thing. That's actually might be a good thing. To do that sort of thing where the dwarves hate the elves and the dwarves hate the humans, and the halflings are basically ignored, and the orcs and the trolls, you know, are all fighting each other as well, and the battle of the five armies, you know, all five of them against one another. That's where you want. That's where, if you want to Lord of the Rings, that's where you would be at. With WoW, considering the fact that where they stole the stuff from in the first place, WoW, which is Warhammer, the RPG. You know, if they did an actual if Warhammer RPG would have been WoW in the Warhammer world, you would have had what you wanted.
Yeah,
that didn't happen. And that, you know, I can't see that sort of thing occurring because of what we know, because of the leaks out of beta for Tor. You're not going to end up with that until, honestly, once again, Secret World.
Yeah.
Well, the wild thing is, have you all seen the new previews for the new Warhammer?
Yeah. Is that the one?
I'm hoping they'll do Warhammer 40K now that they put out Space Marine.
Yeah.
Oh, they are. They're doing it. It's called the Black. Not Black. It's Dark. What is that called?
Dark Heresy?
No, it's something else, and I can't remember the name of it. But it's coming out where they're actually making the 40K world.
Okay, when they do the 40K world, you might have a chance at that. Because that would be, I would be willing to try that because I'm a fan of the 40K world. But they got to do it better than what they did with the Warhammer world.
Yeah. Oh, it's way, the look of it that I've seen so far, it's way better. Way better.
Yep.
But
basically moving on. Any more news you guys want to bring up, Dave?
I'll bring up the thing that goes. DC Universe Online goes live goes free to play in approximately 4 hours.
Which I'm gonna say I did enjoy that game. I did really.
No,
enjoy
I didn't
that.
either. It was a good launch, though. I have to say that it was a very smooth launch. But The problem is that game got me. That game caused me to rage so bad. When you get up to the high end, that game caused me to rage so bad. It's ridiculous, and it is a very linear storyline. Extremely linear. You have to really go out of your way to try to do missions for the other guys that are not your mentor.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. I want to play the game how I want to play the game.
Yeah. But if you're sitting in Gotham and you're working for Batman, you have to know the tricks to get over to a point where you can actually get missions from Wonder Woman or get missions from Superman. And it's too hard to do that. You should be able to get missions from any one of the three. You should be able to get missions from other people other than those three.
I'll be honest with you, the whole story does not intrigue me at all. I don't care about this alien.
I canceled the comic book.
Yeah, I can't get into it. It sucks. So, like I said, it goes back to the WoW stuff. If I can get into the world and I can get into the lore of it, then I'm set. I'm into it. I can't get into this at all.
No, I can't either. That was the problem I had with it. I mean, yeah, okay, it's cool. I get to fight Poison Ivy, or I get to fight Solomon. Okay, why am I fighting Solomon Grundy this damn early in the game?
Yeah.
And why am I fighting Bizarro at level 15? Mind you, he's kind of one hell of a mob to fight at level 15, but I'm fighting him at level 15. Bizarro. Bizarro is level Superman. Superman's level 30. What the heck? Why am maybe 28, 29 I should be fighting Bizarro.
Yeah.
And there was things like that were just like, okay, I understand helping the Teen Titans. Yeah, the Teen Titans are kind of the low-end guys. I can understand that one. But the villains didn't make sense. I'm fighting Dr. Fate in the beginning mission for Cersei. What? What the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
And I'm being helped by Felix Faust. Felix Faust can't even hold a candle. Dr. Fate never has been able to. What is this?
I've always wondered.
I know DC too damn much.
I think that's the problem with with DC Universe Online, is that I don't think they ever really got their story straight with any of them. I think what they should have done is that with the question system, they should have not send you from place to place. Going from Gotham down to the Metropolis. I think if you're questing with Superman, you do a good bunch of line of quests with Superman, and you do them in Metropolis.
No, you do. You do. But you don't, that being an exception, the problem is that with Superman, okay, because I have when I did this, I did one character for every mentor, just to see what was going to happen. Well, what ends up happening is they don't do quests. So you have to go and search out the other two guys. So you end up doing all the same quests for everybody, except for the initial first part. Then, now mind you, at the end game it changes, but in the end game there's no choice. You have to group. You cannot solo any of the end game content at all.
Which, it reminds me, remember they were doing the content creation part, where you can select, the one you want to choose, Batman, Superman, or what was the other one?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. I would think what they should have done is kind of treat that in the sense of the races, like they have whereas, like for example, if you pick Undead, you start in Undercity. Well, why don't they do it as if I pick Superman, I do the quest line of Superman, I don't do Batman.
But that's what I'm saying. There isn't realize I've got 2 characters up to 30 in this game before I quit. To get there, you have to do the other guys' quests. You cannot do it by just following Superman's line. There isn't enough experience. That's where I'm saying there's the problem. So you end up doing all of Batman and Wonder Woman's and Superman's to get to level 30.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to do that 6 damn times. What DC tried to do, it tried to set up, is exactly what Star Wars is set up to do.
Yeah, I know the Star very much.
The problem is they failed at it because of the way they did not plan out the experience correctly. And DC is not like Marvel in the fact that Marvel has villains that they invent on the spur of the moment all the time. DC does not create as many villains. Therefore, you've got a little bit limited set of what you can do. Everybody knows pretty much Batman's set. You know, everybody knows Batman's villains. Well, everybody knows Superman's villains. So where does Gorilla Grodd fit in? He's in Superman's line for some damn reason.
Yeah, see, I can't get into the lore of that. I'm not a DC fan at all. Like, I am to a certain extent, but not really. I mean, Superman was not one of my favorite characters.
Matter of fact, none of the three are my favorite characters. My favorite characters were characters like Zatanna and Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And, you know, they did come up with the Green Lantern supplement, but you still can't select Hal Jordan or Sinestro as my mentor.
And I really think they're pushing the Green Lantern because the movie came out, and that was
right.
Yeah.
That was the only reason they pushed it. I don't understand the logic of the game. It is too much kill 10 mobs.
Too much of that, and I don't think, you know, what they should have done, it felt more like a DC, not just a comic book, but make it feel more like, you know, you are a hero. You know, the problem is that you've too much try to suck up to Batman, but I think that what made City of Heroes great, that you did feel like a hero. You know?
Well, I got a solution to all of it, really, is, they got a game right now called City of Heroes out.
Yeah.
Go download that, it's free to play. Bam.
That's all you need. City of Heroes is where it's at, you know, you got Champions Online, there's another one tried to do it. Failed.
Yeah.
Champions Online's not bad. I'm not going to say it's horrible. It's not bad. But City of Heroes is my game.
Yeah, it's where it is at. You know what I'd love them to do if is remake it graphically, bring it up to date graphically. Everything else they can keep, but graphically update it.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, Wide right. City of Heroes and City of Villains is the one game now, and it is free to play.
Yeah, free to play. I think you got to pay for City of Rogues. I think.
Yeah. If you want to have the ability to switch your character back and forth between good and evil, you would have to pay. Or if you want to play in the third world, which is the mirror universe of the Paragon City, you have to pay. You would have to pay for that if you want to play in there. But that's the regular game. Good, you know, is City Heroes and Villains are the same. Otherwise,
yeah. Well, moving on now. We're moving on to the MMO Roundtable. This is the part of the show, guys, that we take a MMO.
More like a triangle.
Yeah, more like a triangle for us, guys. Since there's only 3 of us here, it's a triangle table, and basically we take an MMO title, guys. We pick one out, we dissect it, we find the goods and the bads to it. You know, we literally go all out on ends to find out, you know, is it really a game for you to buy, not to buy, or is it something, you know, maybe give it a try, but yet it's not going to last. And, you know, last week we did City Wheels. And tonight, I think Adam's probably looking forward to this one.
Maybe just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I don't know, did you ever play this one, Dave?
I don't know. What is it?
Don't tell you.
What is it?
Zion.
Oh. I never played it. Can't say I played it.
Well, well, this is, you know, this is a part where also the community join in on, you know, what we discuss. So basically, what we discuss, you guys, you can have your say. We will respond as well. Basically, tonight, I said to Dave, is Zion. I don't know how many people in the chat have played Zion. I know myself and Adam have. Adam, how long did you play Zion?
I quit playing about 2 months ago, but there's been a lot of things implemented in. I'm checking right now to actually see if the rumor had that there was, they finally put the zombies in there, which is, so, I don't know, basically what Zion is think of, the world's been destroyed pretty much, that's what it is. It's like, you know, 2012 came along and wiped out, and there was some kind of disaster that happened, and the world's been wiped out completely. There is no, you don't have, you know, skyscrapers, you don't have buildings or anything like that. That's actually what you're trapped in. I think it's, I want to say what lake it is, and I can't remember what lake it is, Lake Tahoe. You're actually at Lake Tahoe, and the mountains and everything around is pretty much trapped you in from this green mist fog. And the green mist fog is poisonous, it'll kill you, so what you're doing is you're basically trying to survive. You have to keep your character alive. You eat, drink, and build stuff like shelters and things like that. You just have basic tools, like you have a shovel. If you pick, like, you can go through and set up your kind of like what your character wants to be like, and so you have an axe, a shovel, a pickaxe, or something like that, or, you know, with a needle for, like, you know, weaving stuff. You go and you collect grass. Your grass, you can go through, break it down into like a string, and then you take other grass and put it together with the string, and you can make baskets. That way you hold stuff in your baskets, like, you know, fish and food and things like that. And so basically it's a really cool crafting system of how you go through and you craft these certain items and stuff like that. The problem with the game is, in the very beginning, and like it's in alpha still pretty much, they call it the prelude. I mean, it's already went through beta a little bit, but it's still kind of like alpha stage, I guess you could say. Even though there was a beta for it, but I'm just saying that this game is its actual. Think of Minecraft, the way Minecraft is. People play Minecraft like crazy right now. They would go ahead and say that it's a full game, but yet it's still in beta. This is what they call a prelude. Is before the game is actually, like, the full-fledged game is produced. But basically your goal is to build a civilization and, you know, get together with people, and your clan is called a tribe. So your clan, you know, you go together and you kind of like, oh, well, this guy has a shovel, and he has terraforming, which is being able to take the earth up and down and dig into it.
To change the landscape, basically.
Yeah, so he has a high level in that. I have a high level in basket making. We come together and we're like, hey, you know, we could trade it off, you know, well, how about you do this? How about you build me a little fort or a base or something like that, and I'll give you baskets and things like that. So it's really cool. There isn't any economy in the game at all. People are setting up their own economy. There is money in the game, but it's kind of like a waste.
Yeah, you gotta find it basically by foraging. And you know, I can remember when I came into the game, you know, the one thing that stuck out to me, that you You know, I walked into this area, and the first thing I saw in a text message was saying that I walked into some tribe's territory. You know, the last time I saw that was a darkfall, and I knew how to walk into a city for that. But this time, it was actually not a medieval setting; it was actually a post-apocalyptic setting. You know, and the first thing I saw from the top of this hill was tents. A big wall surrounding the tents, and a big trench going right in front. I was wondering what they were doing with it. And I find out then that some dude runs over to the river, digs out the actual dirt patch that was in the river, and the water just comes flat and flowing through. And I found that really impressive from an MMO. You know, you can do this kind of thing within an MMO. You know, you can never see that kind of thing in WoW or any other MMO where you can actually change the landscape.
Yeah, where you actually affect the world itself. And it's really cool, like, you know, even though, you know, it's kind of like one of those, it's an MMO if people leave and stuff like that, or they stay and all this other stuff and move and migrate and stuff like that, their stuff still stays there. If somebody made, like, you know, build up this big, huge wall and they were going to build something here, and there was baskets here and all that other stuff, you know, it's pretty wild because the stuff kind of still stays there, and you're like, oh wow, there was actually a civilization here. I wonder where they're at now, or if they're still here. And it's a post-apocalyptic world, so it's kind of like if there's not a bunch of players around, you're okay with it because you're like, oh well, you know, maybe there's not people in this area that I'm in right now, because it kind of goes with the lore, you know, maybe people have, you know, died off or something like that. So it's really cool. Like I said, I was checking before to see if they've implemented anything new into it. The only thing new that they've put into lately is they made ramps where you can actually make a ramp. You have carts now that you can actually take stuff and put it into a cart and like pull the cart along.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, that was a big bitch that I had a long time ago about, you know, you couldn't really do much with that. And they have floors, they have ramps, they have, like, trees in the mist, the green mist. They grow. They were having problems with them, like, growing because there wasn't anybody to go out there and cut them down and stuff like that. So they kind of fixed that. Also, another big thing is that now they have the infected animals. Whenever they go into the green mist, they come back as a mutant. So, and the same thing with the like zombies. Zombies will actually come out of the mist, and you have to
attack the civilization.
Yeah, protect yourself.
This is pretty cool because you think about it. There's going to be, you know, there is PvP as well. You know, there is tribe versus tribe thing going on, and you can literally take the civilization from them.
Yeah, I mean, you can pretty much go up to somebody and kill them and take all their stuff. You know, so it's pretty wild. It's absolutely wild.
You know, I can remember, you know, like I said, coming down from my hill, and the first thing I saw was this dude, as he was, you know, letting the water flow through, you know, and all of a sudden this dude comes out from the tent. And he looks up and thinking, I'm looking down, and he's looking up and thinking, should I join these guys? Just, you know, make sure that I've only just started this game. And he goes, hey, do you want to join? He goes, yeah, sure, I'll join. Then all of a sudden, you know, I'm learning fishing, I'm learning foraging, cutting down wood, you know, trees, getting all the twigs and the branches, you know, getting all the wood together so we can build walls, basically tents, you know. And the thing is, everything you do in the game, you literally got to eat. You know, and how you eat is getting your fish in. You got to build the baskets as well to put the fishes in. You know, you got to build the fishing rods, and you know, I mean, you got to go to like these car piles to actually get you know, different types of materials. Like for example, you know, like certain metals. Which is, you know, it's fantastic what they've done with it. You know, I gotta say, you know, the indie MMO game makers are really good at what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Dave? Did you ever see it? Did you ever look at it?
No, I can't say I have, but it sounds like something I would be kind of interested in, really, though, because I'm kind of into that kind of build it up kind of mode thing. You know, I've done the Minecraft stuff, and although it's cute, it's not the, you know, it's blocky and silly and.
Yeah.
They've definitely, one thing I will say is with this game is they've definitely improved on the combat system. The combat system was a joke in the very beginning. It was absolutely horrible. Your right and left mouse button was right mouse button was for your right hand, left mouse button was for your left hand, arms and stuff like that. That's how you swung your weapon around and dodging and things like that, which is really cool. It's not a tab over and attack somebody. It's actually you have to point at them and hit them and stuff like that. So it's really cool in that aspect. But the problem was the reason why I kind of quit was there was no content to it to be able to, okay, well, I built myself a house. Okay, I've learned these skills. I've learned how to produce armor. Now what do I do?
What do I do with it? I'm attacking the neighbor's tribe. Or what happens if the tribes in the area politically were friends?
Yeah.
You know, so
also was like the animals. The animals were a big problem. Did you find that out, Lofty, that it was hard to find the animals?
Yeah, I remember there was a bug on the server that, well, I know there's a bug that the actual animals were actually moving to the green mists. So basically, that you're trying to find them, you have to go literally towards the green mists. And they will actually go into the green mist because the green mist wasn't affecting them, which means the only way you can get them is by going into the green mist, which means no one was getting animals.
Yeah, it was getting to be a big pain that nobody could find, you know, animal skulls or animal bones to be able to create armor and things like that. And yeah, it was getting to the point where you're like, well, really, what do I do with this game? There's no quest. The cool thing though is they have totems, like a totem pole, where you can go up to the totem pole and you can make your own custom quest. And you can say, hey, look, I need 6 of these, and if you get that, you'll get the reward of this. And you could give, like, you know, a piece of armor if you wanted to, or, you know, a piece of yarn, or something, you know, somebody would need, or, like, you know, bones and things. And it was really cool because it was like, somebody could come in, you weren't even there, and you could be like, okay, oh, look at this totem that says this person needs, you know, 6 deer skulls. Okay, well, I'll go out and kill, you know, 6 deer, get their skulls, come back, and they have this piece of armor that I need. So I'll go ahead and just complete that quest for them. And it was really cool with that. But, like I said, the big thing was there wasn't a lot of warfare going on at the time and things like that. There wasn't a lot of people fighting each other for land and things. That's something later on is the conquest stuff. So it's a cool game. Definitely try it out. It's I don't know how much it is directly. I can't remember the price of it now.
I think it was $10. I think it was.
I'll check that as we.
You know, the one thing that caught my eye, being a Darkfall player, the thing for Darkfall for me was the politics. The way in Darkfall it actually immersed players, even though some players didn't like politics, were getting involved. They didn't realize that they were playing in the political world. Everything that you were doing with your clan was impacting the world. But in Zion, I was hoping for the same thing. But this time, instead of actually having cities that were built for you, you were building the cities. So every single structure, every single ditch, every single wall was built by the clan. Which to me, it caught my eye.
It's $40.
It's $40.
$40, you get 1 month free, and it's $15 a month after that.
That's not bad, is it? Well, probably that's more than WoW, isn't it? I think WoW is about 10, I think, isn't it?
No. That's about the same cost.
Is it?
Yep.
I forgot that.
Well, it's $14.99. So.
Yeah, it's the same cost on this side for.
Yeah.
You telling me that you Americans gotta pay more for WoW a month?
Yes, believe it or not, because the reason why is our our trading basically is you all have a better economy than we do. So wonderful stuff.
I know, for example, that when I used to pay WoW, all I had to do was pay £9.99, which was basically rounded up £10 will cover me for a month of WoW.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like I said, our economy is kind of crappy.
No, it's always been that though. I mean, it's been that for 7 years. That's not the. The thing is, I hate to bring it up because it brings in politics, but it's the fact that we got more taxes on it.
Yeah. And then there's me thinking that the UK's taxed smithereens, but and I always remember then that the dollar's got not virtually worthless in the world now, isn't it?
No, I wouldn't say that, but it isn't great. That's best euro. Anyways, the situation, WoW and EverQuest set the standard of $15 a month, and that's what we're stuck with over here. Any MMO that comes out is $15 a month if they charge per month. Secret World's going to be that. Star Wars The Overpowered's going to be that. Anything new, that $15 a month is like the god number, and that's what everybody charges, even if it's not worth that. If you don't charge $15 a month, you may as well go free to play because you'll actually get more money that way.
Yeah. And to be honest, I think personally for Exile, I think for them it would benefit them to go free to play as well.
Well, I would probably give it. I probably would give it a try if it wasn't $15 a month. If it was free to play, I might give it a try. Right now, I can't afford it, and it's not. It doesn't. The situation as you guys are describing it doesn't appeal enough to me to make that investment.
I don't think really any of them are right now.
Yeah, right now this is with me. The problem with me is that I always see. I gotta kind of stop this way of thinking. That free to play is kind of like saying, "Play me when you can." But whereas with pay to play is you've invested, so play. That's the way I kind of.
Adam expressed that earlier. The exact same philosophy, and everybody's kind of that way too. I mean, that's the thing. What did I do? I dropped WoW, then picked up Rift. I then dropped Rift, picked up Star Trek Online because of the convention. I then dropped Star Trek Online, re-picked up City of Heroes. I have not dropped City of Heroes. But in the meantime there, I had a second game that I was paying for, Lord of the Rings. Well, I've stopped paying for Lord of the Rings. So, I mean, I basically can pay for 2 MMOs. That's the way I look at it, is just affordability-wise, I can pay for 2 MMOs. I'm not going to pay for something that I'm not going to enjoy playing, for one, or that I'm going to get frustrated with, which is why DC Universe Online went out the window. And I'm only going to... So I have to look, what is the best value for my money is what I'm looking at. It's a little bit different perspective.
Yeah.
Because I'm always going to be paying for 2. That's the way I do things. I'm always paying for 2. And the reason I got into that mentality, by the way, is because for the longest period of time, I had 2 City of Hero accounts and I had 2 WoW accounts when I was playing WoW. So I'm used to, my budget is budgeted for 2 games. This game is not, sorry, but this game, Zion, is not going to be one of those games that's going to break into that too.
Yeah, it comes down to it is everybody usually has at least. I mean, hell, at one time I was paying for 4 MMOs, which was not going to happen ever again. I was playing Earthrise, I was playing Zion, I was playing Darkfall, and I was playing Eve, all at the same time, and that will never happen again.
Which one of those did you play the most?
The longest I played was between. Darkfall was the longest I played. The one that I tried to hardcore get into was Eve, and Eve is just not my type of game.
Yeah, it's one of those games that you like or dislike.
Zion was probably the second longest that I played out of those 4, is because it was kind of neat because there was constantly having updates and stuff like that, and new things were constantly being added in. But like. Earthrise was a buggy piece of crap. It was a horrible launch, and apparently they fixed a lot of it, but I haven't seen anything yet. So
yeah, well, see, like for me, right now, I'm running Age of Conan because it's free. I've got, I've got a couple of the Perfect World games. I've got Lifetime already on Champions, so I don't need to worry about that one. I've got City of Heroes, which I actually am paying for VIP on. Star Trek Online is still sitting on my computer. It's not being paid for anymore, but I'm waiting for the free-to-play. So that'll be in my pile of free-to-plays. I've still got the Star Wars Galaxies emulator site that I'm playing for, that I don't pay for, but it's free-to-play, and I'm still got it around. The thing is, with free-to-plays, I tend to hang on to the games a lot more, and I'll go back to them, play them for a couple of days, couple of weeks, then go out. I'm looking at my desktop right now. I've got Clone Wars on there still. But I don't have Rift anymore. I don't have DC anymore. I don't have, all the other games. I used to be in Eve. I don't have that anymore. So, it's again, I can pay for 2 games. It's which games are going to give me the biggest bang for the buck, and which ones am I going to hang around playing all the time, that I'm going to want to go back to a lot. Well, right now it's Core City Heroes, and then, I've got the second game slot opened up for Core. And when April comes, see whether or not I drop the tour or I just stop playing for the City of Heroes VIP.
Which, to be honest, I should be playing City of Heroes more than I should be. I should be, but right now, Battlefield 3 is sucking up my time.
So should Timmy and Kaylee and Jade and Adam.
I've got this little game right now.
Yeah, I know. You guys got this little game called Battlefield 3 right now.
It's called Battlefield.
And you know what the sad thing is? Next week I've got Skyrim. So, there you go.
Yeah. So basically, for I suppose this will probably be the only question for me and Adam. Adam, would you say to the people of the chat, would you say Zion, a buy, not worth it, or would you say, I don't know if there's a trial yet for it, but would you say probably go for a trial and have a look?
There isn't a trial for it, but I would say look into it. If it looks something like you would like, then go ahead and, heck, why not play it for, a little bit. They're always constantly adding stuff onto it. I just quit playing because like I said, I have way too much. I don't have enough time right now to do anything. If it's Lag Spike, I'm doing it. If it's Battlefield 3, I'm playing the hell of it. I would say wait until, they start adding some more features in there. The problem is with that, though, is they might raise the price of the game.
That's any problem.
Yeah, but why not, hell with it. Check it out if you want to check it out. Don't watch any videos online of it. they're not accurate at all. You're going to see some old combat and crap like that.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some. Considering that they do release content pretty regular.
Oh yeah, all the time.
But the best of actually, if there's a live scenes out there of actually somebody showing a live capture of Zion, try and find those. And then at least then you can have an up-to-date version. For me, Zion, I wouldn't say it's like Minecraft, but I would say it's like, I'm trying to think what Zion is similar to.